Artificial intelligence is everywhere nowadays, and the ways it is going to contribute to how we live on Earth are only going to increase. Today's episode is a bit different, as this is a collaboration video with one of my good friends, RobboSensei, who has his own channel, which you can find the link to in the description. Please go and check him out. He is just starting out like myself, so over to you, Robbo, for the episode.
Artificial intelligence is a subject that I've always had a keen interest in, and thanks to NBD Reels, I now have an opportunity to make a video on the subject. So before we begin, I'd just like to quickly say, NBD, I appreciate the opportunity, as AI is something that I've had an infinite curiosity for honestly, the longest time. So without further ado, in today's episode, we'll be taking a deep dive into AI and how we humans will most likely be living alongside it in the future. John McCarthy invented the term artificial intelligence in the year 1950. He said at the time, every aspect of learning or any other feature of intelligence can, in principle, be so precisely described that a machine can be made to simulate it. I do not think he imagined the world we are living in today feels, in many ways, like a wonderland in relation to how things that I thought we would never see in my lifetime have become available to anyone who can afford to buy the technology. For example, let's take the Star Trek tablet. I remember watching that episode and thinking how cool that tablet was. I mean, fast forward a couple decades later, we now literally have iPads. It's amazing. It's amazing how sci-fi, over time, can become science. With enough ingenuity and enough determination, we could get there. But enough of the history lesson. Let's start with the definition of what artificial intelligence is. It is the programming and development of machines and systems capable of using and interpreting information in a manner similar to the activities of a human. Hence the name artificial intelligence, as is modeled after the human brain or human intelligence. Currently, AI is used in many walks of life, from the electricity company monitoring power consumption and using AI to redirect the power to areas it is needed the most, to that Alexa speaker that is sitting in your kitchen. In this section of the episode, let us look at some of the uses for AI today. The ability to take instructions through an input and return results based on the input. This use case is applicable to things like Google, the search engine. You might have heard of it. You input text into the user interface. AI then absorbs that text and returns results based on your initial input, if you never used Google before. Or when you use the Alexa command to turn it on, though it's always on, and you ask Alexa what you want to ask using your voice as the input, and then AI will translate that input and return verbal results through the speaker. Literally astounding. DALL-E is another great example of the current use of AI. If you are not aware of what DALL-E is, you're probably living under a rock. But in all seriousness, it is an AI-driven artist, to put it simply. You input a text description of what you want DALL-E to output in the form of an image, and DALL-E will produce this image for you. As you can see, there are some examples of DALL-E on the screen now. Also, side note, the name DALL-E actually comes from the famous artist Salvador Dali. So if you don't know anything about him, go check him out. He has some phenomenal work. Another fantastic example of how AI is currently being used by businesses around the world is through the utilization of chatbots. You know, when you contact a business that renders a service for you, nowadays, you have an 80% chance of interacting with an AI-driven chatbot before you put it through to a human. And sometimes it can be really annoying, but sometimes these machines are phenomenal at emulating human speech. It's actually crazy. AI is now applied to fraud prevention within the finance industry across the world. Credit card fraud is one of the most significant issues that e-commerce companies deal with. By considering the usage patterns, AI can help reduce the possibility of credit card fraud taking place. We are currently living in a time where it is now easier to undertake complex tasks and simple tasks such as setting a reminder using AI. Based on this statement, it is safe to say that AI is now mainstream, and it's only going to become more widely available to more people as the technology becomes more defined and more accessible. You could think of AI as really in its infancy stage at this point. One issue that I see coming up over and over again regarding AI is the ethics of AI and how it would be applied in the world around us. A great example of this is the use of the CRISPR technology.
CRISPR is a unique technology that enables medical researchers to edit parts of the genome by removing, adding, or altering sections of the DNA sequence. It is currently the simplest and most versatile and precise method of genetic manipulation.
Critics of the technology have said this kind of technology could lead to the end of humanity as we know it, as this technology will essentially allow people with access to it to be able to design any human they desire. Of course, this is called for the scrutiny of the ethics involved with this kind of use of AI technology. It's no surprise to me that China is leading the way in regards to this technology. There are many advantages of using artificial intelligence in many given scenarios. The first advantage we'll take a look at is in the manufacturing industry. For the sake of this video, let's use Amazon as an example of how they're taking advantage of using artificial intelligence. In recent years, Amazon has implemented robots that are driven by artificial intelligence in their huge warehouses. It is said the introduction of these robots has seen an increase in productivity within the warehouses compared to using a human workforce. As you can imagine, a human requires breaks, a human requires eating, a human requires sleep, whereas a robot will work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, with no rest and all it takes for robots to achieve. This is very minimal maintenance. Another advantage that has been noted by Amazon is the reduction in cost of labor to undertake these tasks that these robots are undertaking. Once Amazon purchases these robots and they're up and running, they will not need to pay these robots to carry out the work that they do need to carry out. This is compared to humans that will require to be compensated for their work and their time, and in most cases, there is always disagreements with these companies in regards to pay. Whereas a robot will certainly never complain about not being paid. Another advantage we'll take a look at is the accuracy and precision that robots will provide. Going back to the case study of Amazon, for example, they use robots for sorting parcels within their warehouses. A human can make an error when sorting out the parcels. This could be due to a lack of concentration or just down to simple human error. However, with a robot, they receive one instruction once, and the robot will carry out this kind of work accurately and precisely. The final, last advantage we will take a look at using the case study of Amazon is the ability to make products and services more widely available due to all the advantages that have been mentioned by utilizing all the above advantages using artificial intelligence. This will lead to products and services being more widely available. For example, Amazon have trialed their autonomous drones using artificial intelligence to deliver packages to people much faster. In this section of the episode, we'll be taking a look at some future uses of AI that will affect us in a noticeable way in how we live, work, and fight wars. Autonomous weapons. The thought of having autonomous weapons is very scary as we march towards that it is close to becoming a reality. Recently, a YouTuber created what can be truly classed as an autonomous weapon. He coupled the Boston Dynamics dog with a high-powered rifle, and the results were nothing short of scary. It is claimed that in the future, militaries will not need to send humans into the battlefield, as they will be able to send autonomous robotic weapons into the field using artificial intelligence. A form of this already exists in the form of unmanned aerial vehicles known as UAVs. Employment or factories. Reports suggest that AI has the potential to eliminate or drive down the wages of low-skilled jobs, so measures are needed to maintain equality and spread the economic benefits broadly. Transportation. Artificial intelligence will play a massive part in the future in relation to transportation. Currently, we are at what is considered level 1 of self-driving. However, artificial intelligence will play a big part in the future. In terms of how we as humans will travel around the globe, currently, we have companies like Tesla that are leading the charge for self-driving vehicles, and this is something that artificial intelligence will certainly improve on in the future. In relation to education, I recently saw an article that stated that teachers' workload in the UK in particular will be lessened using the assistance of AI. The intention is to use AI technology to be able to mark the work that the children will produce in classrooms. Currently, as it stands, teachers spend a lot of the time marking children's work, but with the future adoption of AI, we can lessen this burden. In conclusion, I would say that artificial intelligence is here to stay and will certainly be in our lives more as the future progresses. According to reports, revenue from the artificial intelligence software market worldwide is expected to reach $126 billion by 2025. 37% of organizations have implemented AI in some form. The percentage of enterprises employing AI grew 270% over the past 4 years. By 2025, 95% of customer interactions will be powered by AI. The global AI software market is expected to grow approximately 54 year on year and is expected to reach a forecast size of $22.6 billion US. Like anything in life, there's always going to be pros and cons. The same applies to AI, as we have seen during the course of this video. I would say part of me is happy as a massive fan of technology that we have AI in the form that we have it now, and some of the possible future implementations that we as humans could use it for the betterment of mankind. However, it is the negative future use cases that fill me with dread. Knowing humans, we like to push the limits. I mean, come on. How far are we willing to go with AI? How much is too much? I truly believe that the subject of AI in its entirety is a double-edged sword. There could be greatness achieved from it, but it could also be the pitfalls of humanity itself. Thank you guys for watching.